Howdy. Welcome back to Muttering Pines. I am excited for this week. Um, I've been wanting to talk to this person for a long time. I like cooking, I like the outdoors, so this is really exciting for me. This time, this person, he came to my home and sat here in the shop with me, and we drank tequila old fashions, and we chatted about how he got into cooking, why he loves cooking outdoors, what it's like foraging for food, foraging and filming with Survivorman Les Stroud. We talked about rose hips, Galium, not the metal, stinky cheese, the best charcuterie board you could ever have for out on the trail and out in the woods, the only meal you should ever cook on a campfire. Not the only meal, but the ultimate meal to cook on a campfire. I even taught him about how us poor people eat tinned fish out on the trail. So this week we're just going to get right into it. We're going to skip the what's news section, and I want you to join me and the co-owner of Rouge Restaurant here in Calgary, co-host of The Wild Harvest with Les Stroud, and renowned chef Paul Rogalski as we fumble through the forest of know-how. All right.
Okay.
Paul, thank you for coming out here. I want to start some cocktails. Cool with that?
I like cocktails.
All right. So this is like a riff on an old fashioned.
I love old fashions.
I was gonna do it. Full transparency. I was gonna do it with mezcal, but I couldn't find a mezcal that I liked that wasn't like $200. So now I'm using this. The store down the street didn't have it.
Have you ever had the worm? Mezcal worms?
No.
There's this one brand, and I bought it in Mexico because they had these little mini bottles
Yeah.
that had the worms. Every little mini bottle had the worm, the mezcal worm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And apparently they're kind of supposed to bring you pleasure like peyote would.
Oh, really?
A little bit of the hallucinogenic vibe to them.
Okay.
I don't know if that actually happened because we had our worms after having actually bottles of tequila. So yeah, I was just like,
So it was,
yeah, no big deal.
yeah, maybe not. That's funny. Okay, so I'm going to use the Cazadores Anejo tequila. It's rich. It's delicious.
I don't think I've had it.
Okay. So got that.
Okay, so tequila.
1 to 6 fingers.
Okay,
Tequila.
whose fingers though?
Could be baby's fingers. Could be. And then I've done a simple syrup I made with honey, ginger,
I like it already.
orange,
Very good.
and as a nod to your adventures from season 2, a blue spruce sprig
Oh, nice.
in there.
Nice. I'm impressed already.
Yeah, so add a little bit of that.
Full confession, I was tasting spruce tinctures today, earlier.
Really?
They're
What the fuck is a spruce tincture?
so if you take Everclear and then you like pour it over spruce and then allow it to kind of sit in a dark corner for 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a spruce tincture.
Really?
The flavor was incredible. I can't lie, but it was maybe a little strong.
Yeah.
I
Strong in alcohol or strong in spruce?
both, and the alcohol component. I know you're supposed to water down Everclear. It's kind of one of those things that you should do. But if you're going for it by, means of delivery from an eyedropper,
Yeah.
not so bad.
Okay.
But it burns.
It does, eh?
It burns, but it's a fun burn.
I'm going to let you choose the smoke. Ginger or hickory?
Oh, let's do ginger, because you said you have ginger in that syrup.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've had ginger smoke before.
Really? Well, confession, neither have I. Here we go. Smoky spruce tequila, old fashioned.
Thank you.
God, I hope it's up to chef's quality.
Yeah, that's delicious.
Pretty good.
That's really good.
Yeah. Do we need more simple syrup in there, or is it? I think it's like,
I like it.
it's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's in the pocket.
Huh. Yes. Nailed it. Nailed it. Okay. Okay, so you co-own Rouge
Yes.
with Renault,
Olivier Reynaud.
Olivia Reynaud, like the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. He's originally from France. So
Yeah.
he was born in Avignon
Okay.
and moved to Canada 26 years ago, I think it was.
Okay.
And became a Canadian officially.
Yeah.
Certified Canadian with a Canadian passport coming last week. I know.
What?
I know.
Sorry, 26 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like just got his passport?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. He was just kind of annoyed with the whole system, and in protest, instead of becoming Canadian, he thought, no, I will still live in Canada and travel with my France.
Totally.
My French passport.
Classic French.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
we fuck eat? I don't know. That's what.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's some stuff that played out that, and there's a few stories, but for sure there was stuff that played out that made him say, screw it. Why would I want to do it now? Screw you. But it was him who always got screwed at the border.
Oh, yeah.
Coming into Canada after being away. And it's like, I should just become a Canadian. So he did. He became a Canadian.
Right on.
Last week.
So you own Rouge in Inglewood. And you are also working with Les Stroud.
Yes.
Also known as Survivorman.
Yes.
And you guys are on season 3, or you just dropped season 3.
Yes.
Of the Wild Harvest.
Yes.
And is there going to be a season 4?
Well, we are hopeful there's a season 4. We have a few things in the fire.
Yeah.
I would say there will be a season 4. When will be the question mark?
Will be the question. Okay. Are you guys working on other stuff together?
No.
It's like your only thing together, and then you've got your stuff. He's got
Exactly. Yeah. So this is the only project that we have together. Les is in the middle of, I think soon he will be filming some stuff about Bigfoot. And
what?
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, when you've spent as much time in the wilderness as he has, he's got some stories and he's looking for some explanations, and he's a smart guy. So whatever he says, I believe. I know that much. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's cool. Am I missing anything? So you've got the restaurant, you've got the show, you've done other TV stuff.
I have, and right now I'm working with a couple of other guys. We're doing some pitches to some major networks, so I don't want to say too much.
Yeah,
I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, there's other things in the fire as well. But Wild Harvest will be getting my undivided attention. And here's the thing with Wild Harvest. Yes, we just dropped it onto YouTube, which is great. But we have had season 1, 2, and 3 air in so many locations globally in standard broadcast terms. It's been amazing. And it's an honor for us to be broadcast with them. So all 3 seasons, we had almost 100% coverage of the entire states.
That's right.
Our show was producing numbers that were up with Ken Burns documentaries and Bob Ross.
Like American Buffalo Ken Burns?
Yeah, the guy, the documentary filmmaker guy. Yeah, exactly. The guy that has the lens named after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or sorry, the effects.
Yeah.
Built into Apple computers for doing videos. Yeah, that guy.
Jesus.
So that's a huge honor. We also were on, this is kind of fun to even think about. National Geographic Asia, which is just, you think of the market in Asia, and it was all of Asia. I can't even remember all the countries. Like, there's no way that I could hashtag any of them. Also, the Netherlands and Europe and Morocco and France, and yeah, just a real interesting mix. And then here in Canada, we have had season 1 and season 2 play continuously almost for the last couple of years on BBC One. Or, sorry,
nice.
no, BBC First. Not BBC One, but BBC First, which is kind of fun.
Cool. Congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's done well.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got your restaurant, you're doing this, you're cooking outside, which is why I wanted to talk to you. But what made you want to do all of this? Like, at what point were you like, man, I like cooking. I'm going to do that for the rest of my life. And then from there, how did you master it? Because you damn near mastered the craft.
There's guys that are better than me. I will say
but
that.
They're not sitting here, are they?
Yeah, well, I will say I'm the lucky one because this drink is just getting better as it sits.
Oh, perfect.
That's legit. Like, that is so good.
I was so nervous.
I had to have another sip.
My wife, when I was like, I'm going to make a cocktail, she's like, you're going to make a cocktail worthy of a chef? I'm like, fuck. Uh-oh. Now
well, something that everybody should know about chefs is we like to drink, we like to eat, we like food. Doesn't matter who's cooking.
Yeah.
We just like food. That's why we became chefs.
Totally.
So never be afraid of cooking for a chef. In fact, we cherish people that do cook for us because we're not cooking for ourselves then.
But what if I boiled you a ribeye?
Bring it.
No way.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Add a little bit of salt. Do you know what? We can make anything good.
Right.
I've had boiled ribeye, actually.
Why?
It was to answer to a higher culinary calling. It was boiled in consomme. So simmered, not boiled. It was simmered. Barely simmered. In fact, it was poached.
Okay.
In consomme.
Yeah.
And then it was layered with notes of fresh oregano and horseradish.
This is boiled.
So think pho or faux, but pho flavors, rich, deep broth. And then the meat was just very delicate and thinly carved. And
yeah.
That's how.
Yeah, that sounds great. It's not a boiled ribeye.
No, it is technically.
I'm talking like you put in a pot of water till it's gray, slap it on a plate, and be like, here you go.
I might have done that when I was stoned once.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, young. So yeah, the funny thing about myself, when I think back, I like to eat. I always liked food. My grandmother was my Ukrainian grandmother, the Rogalski grandmother, was a phenomenal cook. She had a huge garden, and she made epic, delicious meals. So I had a really good example on what flavor was about from her. And then on my other side of the family, so the Middleton side, my mom's side of the family, my grandfather owned the Bonton meat market, and he was a butcher. So I've always been loaded up with, always had like great produce and great protein and great meat, growing up as a kid.
So you never had to grow up with like overcooked pork chops drowned in Campbell's cream mushroom?
Oh yeah, we had that too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think everyone did. And you know what? I liked it. It was pretty good. So the gourmet version would be like, okay, so you make your mushroom sauce with whipping cream and butter and wine and other flavors.
And actually cook your pork chop properly.
Yeah, low and slow. And but overall, it was the fact that, and this is just being completely honest, I love to eat. I started cooking my own snacks because I think people got tired of cooking for me.
Yeah.
I.e. my mom. And I started making mushrooms on toast for myself. So I'd come home after hanging out with my buddies. At that point of my life, my focus was playing guitar, hanging out with a couple of guys. One of my friends was learning how to play bass. I was playing guitar. Another guy's playing drums. We had combustibles, so we were, under the influence of whatever we could find.
Mushrooms on toast.
Exactly. We had the munchies, put it that way, often. So I'd get home and be like, okay, it's like 11 o'clock at night. What am I going to eat? So I started with mushrooms on toast, and then I liked it. And then I thought, well, cooking is kind of fun. So in grade 10, I signed up for food science.
Yeah.
And I went, it was an option. I went into that class, and a couple of my buddies went into that class. And it was just kind of like a free pass for me. It's like, okay, hang out and cook and eat.
Yeah.
And then go to math. And I stuck 10, 20, 30. And so here I am in grade 12. And my dad, who actually was the principal of William Aberhart, said, what are you going to do? I don't know. I'm going to cook. Are you sure? Yep. I want to cook. I want to do it for a living.
Hang on. So your dad was principal of Abe.
Yep.
But you went to Churchill.
I did.
Is that just because he's like, you're not coming to my fucking school?
Exactly.
Okay.
I had hair like halfway down my back.
Yeah.
No. He didn't want people to know that we were related. I'm pretty sure. And I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I remember this one conversation though about having long hair. This is my Ukrainian grandfather. His name's Emil. And my dad's giving me a hard time at family dinner, thinking that it would help tune me in and he would get support from his father.
Yeah.
And my grandfather, Margito, says, Walter, you leave your boy alone. Jesus Christ had long hair too. It's just like, well, it backfired on my dad in such a big way. But I did go to a different school. So
Yeah. But you did.
yeah. So anyways, I graduated from high school, went to SAIT, into the culinary arts program, and never looked back.
Awesome.
I've never worked a day in my life. I keep telling that to people. I love what I do. Kitchen hours are kind of lousy. Like there's a subculture that goes along with being a chef, but I also love the subculture.
Mm-hmm.
We're a bunch of misfits. The industry is built on people that are driven in a different way.
Totally.
And I love it.
Yeah. I did some restaurant industry time myself, and it's a trip.
Yeah, it's a trip.
Yeah.
So I feel very fortunate. And that got me into the beginning of my career. I just stuck with it. I didn't even kind of put two and two together until recently. It's like my first chef title. I was the executive chef of Rouge Restaurant, which was, there's two restaurants in Calgary which were considered the top two restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
One was the Owl's Nest, and the chef of the Owl's Nest at the Westin Hotel is Fred Zimmerman. And Fred, he was known as God. Like Fred was called God in Canada, not in Calgary, in Canada. He's a legend, just the most amazing cook. Very involved in competition, that sort of thing. And here I am, the chef of the competition at 24.
Nice.
I didn't even figure that out until like 3 weeks ago. It's like, oh, I guess I was pretty young. It's like, oh, okay. But it's been, I think, my calling.
Yeah, obviously. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of silly when I think about it.
So I have to check my notes here because my brain's old.
It's because we have a delicious cocktail.
Yeah.
And I'm a bad influence as well, just so you know.
I have rubber arms. So it's like, okay. So you've done all that. So with Les on Wild Harvest, this is all, I mean, you're in the kitchen a little bit, fishing lodges or wherever, but sometimes you're just cooking outside. What got you interested in saying like, yes to Les? Like, at what point you're like, yeah, I want to go do foraging and cooking wild ingredients and cooking outside. Like, where did that kind of,
how did it happen?
Yeah. Like, what got you interested in being like, I'm going to cook outside. I want to do like fresh shit that I picked from the ground and cook it on the ground.
I've always been interested in the outdoors. And even in high school, I would go along the Bow River, look for wild chives and pick things in my grandmother's garden, just eat stuff. And they also, besides living in Calgary, they had a farm out in Ontario. So as a kid, it was like always just eating fresh things off the plant
Yeah.
and being outdoors. And then it got to the point where I'd be out for a hike. And they'd be like, looking around, I wonder what I can eat here. And it kind of started there from a personal quest. But
Did you ever eat something you shouldn't have? Like, what can I eat here? And then you're like, whoops.
no, do you know why? Because do you remember those Mr. Yuck commercials? Don't put it in your mouth. Yeah. So yeah, someone you love. Yeah, that thing. Yeah. So that kept me making sure that I knew what I was eating. So I always made sure to ask somebody else. But it was definitely something that I have always loved. And being outdoors, hiking, skiing, mountain biking, doesn't matter. I've always enjoyed that, being on the water.
Yeah. Nice.
So back in back in 2012, I was in Mexico filming a pilot for a television series. I won't get into the long details of that, but Les was down filming the same pilot.
Oh, okay.
And we were sitting on the beach after a day of filming, and he was Survivorman. So when he was there, he was Survivorman Les Stroud, not Les Stroud, who he is now. And he brought a guitar and brought some harmonicas, and I'm playing some chords, and he's playing harmonica. And he's like, you know what'd be cool, man? It'd be cool if we had a show. I forage and you cook. It's like, yeah, that'd be cool. And we had a couple more beers, a couple of shots of mezcal.
Yeah.
And kept in touch ever since. Just kind of not on the continuous basis, but, it's like 6 months would pass and all of a sudden Les would be in Calgary and he'd be like, hey, go for a beer. Okay.
Yeah.
And this one time he literally was at the Calgary airport, and I was flying in from doing a gig with Michael Smith from the Food Network out on the East Coast. And I know we're not supposed to, but, just when the wheels are about to touch down, or maybe a little bit before that, I turned on my phone.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I've got this message from Les saying, hey, I'm at the airport for 4 hours. What are you up to? And I'm like, I'm literally just wheels down. Where are you? Where can I find you?
Really? You said I'll be wheels down in 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, I'll meet you. Exactly. So that was like really good karma. And he brought it up again. He said, we should do it. I'm going to be back in Calgary in a couple of months. Do you know anyone that could film us? And I actually had just worked with Kevin Coswin.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, yeah, I've got somebody. I know somebody who's got like a really active outdoor lifestyle, who's a great filmmaker. So we got together on a FaceTime video. I just wanted to connect those guys. I didn't really want to be in front of the camera. And both Les and Kevin said, no, this is going to be the show that has you in the kitchen or cooking.
Nice.
And me as the forager.
Yeah.
And Wild Harvest was born. So here's something really interesting about it, which kind of blows my mind to this day. And telling the story is like, seems somewhat surreal. So we filmed the pilot out by Burnt Stick Lake. We borrowed my friend's cabin.
Yeah.
So two guys that grew up in Varsity that I've known pretty well my whole life. And a lot of it, you don't have cell phone connectivity out there.
Right.
So we were off the grid. We're just doing our thing. We got back on the grid, and Les put out a post, just sort of a shot of the three of us. Hey, just filmed a pilot for a new television series, Wild Harvest. And literally that picture of us and that Insta post brought in an offer from Warner Brothers and an offer in from American Public Television.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
Cool.
Yeah. And you're going, why didn't you guys go with Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
Well, we were actually working with Warner Brothers We were in contract negotiations, and it just ended up coming down to something as simple as we looked at Wild Harvest as a legacy project.
Yeah.
And wanted it to have some longevity and for us to have some creative freedom on the project and creative control. And that is what we had with American Public Television. So that's why we went with them.
That makes sense.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, it's great. So you're on season 3. Do you have maybe this will be the same answer, maybe it'll be different. Do you have a favorite dish / location / ingredient so far? If it's like yet to come and hasn't been released yet, that's fine.
What I will say is there's a couple things I didn't like.
Oh, let's do that then.
The one thing that sticks out, pond lily tuber.
Okay.
So if you think of lilies like floating in a lake, and you dive down and you pull out the root of it, the tuber, and then you taste that, and you think you've just licked an open sewer.
Neat.
Have you ever had durian before?
No, because I've heard like
it's gross.
Yeah,
because it tastes like open sewer.
Neat.
So pond lily tuber tastes like open sewer combined with vinegar.
Yummy.
Yeah, special.
Okay.
So that on its own raw was not really enjoyable. But I did figure out a way to use it. So there's a term I like to use, and I am pointing Anthony Bourdain when I say this, but some food has a funk to it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh, for sure it does.
So this had a funk, like fish sauce, like blue cheese.
Yeah.
Like those things. So I made it past it, and I juiced the pond lily tuber, and it wasn't so bad. But on its own, it was absolutely vile.
Okay. Neat.
Another thing which was really challenging to work with was balsam arrowroot, period. This stuff is so bitter. And if you're driving through the Okanagan in like early June, late May, and it looks like there's little sunflowers growing on the side of mountains and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
It's that stuff.
Oh, okay.
And you wonder, I wonder what that stuff tastes like.
They're a little more orange than yellow, though, aren't they? Or
yeah, well, they're yellowy. Yeah, they are.
Yellowy?
They're yellowy, yeah. But maybe some of them are kind of orangey. Not as tall as a sunflower, but kind of the same look to them.
Yeah.
And they're so bitter. Like one bite of that stuff, and at least for me, I couldn't taste anything else for like 3 hours.
Really?
Wait, you know how garlic lingers?
Yeah.
But this was like the same, but it was bitter. It was like,
oh god,
holy cow. So that was a real big culinary challenge for me to do that. Things that I thought were absolute wins that were way better than I ever expected. Wild turkey roadkill.
I haven't even seen that episode come up yet.
Oh yeah, I do well. Yeah, it's season 2, I think, or maybe it was season 1. I don't remember.
Roadkill. Okay.
Yeah. So here we are. We're in Oregon. We're at Les's place. Les and Kevin. So the things I have to say about the show is they're 100% authentic.
Yeah.
They're not scripted. And when I'm given ingredients, I have no idea.
Yeah. Okay.
They're coming my way. So that was season 1 and season 2. And season 3, we kind of said, why are we black boxing Paul? It's always an Iron Chef sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
so season 3 is totally fake.
No,
that's what I'm getting.
No, it's not fake. But season 3, actually season 1 was like Iron Chef, but it never made the edit. So it's like, here's the reveal, but there was never any like, oh my God, I've got this amount of available sunlight and my fire's dying and I have to cook. But that's the way it was.
Oh,
but it was all that stuff was cut out, and all it kind of shows is, some beautiful drone shots.
Yeah.
And me cooking. and none of the drama that actually took place as I'm going, what the fuck do you guys think I'm supposed to do with this stuff? How much time do I have? Are you kidding me? And so finally it was them being Kevin and Les saying, we're not using that footage, so let's just give Paul a bit more time. So we changed the formula in how we film, which is harvest one day, film the second day, and I would have overnight to kind of think about what I'm going to cook with it.
Gotcha.
Sometimes we're off the grid, so there's no cheats. It's got to be me and my brain, and even if we are on the grid, it's still me and my brain. Like we try to keep it authentic 100%. That being said, the turkey episode we had. So hey, I have to backtrack.
Sure.
So how we film with when there's the power trio of Kevin, Les, and Paul. Kevin and Les would leave Paul behind. I'd either have to set up camp, set up my kitchen, build a fire pit, that sort of thing.
And they're off doing like the foraging shots.
They're doing the foraging thing, scouting, and sometimes they decide to bring me into the forage, and sometimes not. But they always picked something that I did not see.
Yeah,
I wasn't part of. Then, if there was a live fire involved, now this is really awesome for me. Guess who built my fire? Almost always.
Les.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have, Survivorman building my
guy had to build the fire every day
to cook on,
not die.
Yeah. Exactly. He's really good at building fires. Just saying.
Yeah.
And he can, like, any kind of fire you need, he does it. He's the master of heat. So low heat, high heat, different heat zones, block the wind from this side, create convection, whatever. He's got that down pat.
Yeah. We watched, I can cut this if you want. We watched the Fiddlehead and Rainbow Trout one last night.
Oh, nice.
And when you guys are like, got the fire going down by the river, right?
Yep.
Because you're cooking steaks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Was that the same episode? No, that was the next one. That was, yeah, it wasn't. It was Spruce. Thank you. Anyway, yeah, you got the fire going. And there's one shot, it was quick, but he came up and be like, this is a gorgeous fire. And look, I just nudged my wife, and there's fucking 2x4s in that fire. I can see them. She's like, where? I'm like, she's like, they're gone. I'm like, well, they burnt away by the next shot. I'm like, there's fucking 2x4s.
Yeah, whatever
it's fire. There's like 2x4s in there.
Yeah. For BC and
like
Cedar Forest.
It's spring. They're not putting wet wood in there. They got busted a pallet off camera and threw it.
That was funny too. If you ever watch that again, when you see the bear reaching over to the cutting board, is going for Kevin's steak.
What was it?
So Kevin didn't eat that day. And so the cool part about filming is it's just story after story after story of just really cool moments, cool places, great flavors, great stories. It's like I said, it's all authentic.
The dishes all look amazing. Like every one of those, I'm like, jealous.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to eat that.
Yeah, I don't think I ever was upset with what I served, that I could have done more. I think maybe my best dish for storytelling, I also had the best prop. And that was the very first episode, season 1, episode 1, where we are on a beach in Southern Oregon, Northern California, like literally on the border. And waves are crashing, and it's incredible, and cooking in the pit in the sand. And I just kind of recreated what I saw there because I could.
Yeah.
It wasn't that it was a forced play. It wasn't anything genius. It's just like, holy shit, these plates that I brought, I never knew they would work right now. I'm glad I didn't use them filming earlier.
So you cart out like every dish that you played on, you're bringing the dinnerware with you.
Yeah. So we have a kit.
But you don't know what you're making. So like, I'm hoping this dish is going to, like, here's the bowls I brought. Hope I got to make something that goes in a bowl. Yeah.
Kevin actually will bring along things like deer.
Oh, cool.
Bear. black bear.
Yeah.
We've had black bear for staff meal more than once, and it's delicious. Yeah, very, very good. In fact, this is kind of morbid, but it did happen. I have to also be honest that I'm one of those people that I don't like taking life. I've done it. I don't like pulling the trigger. But once it's dead, all of it's going to be cooked. Like nothing's going to go to waste. So you can imagine being me cooking staff meal, which was spring bear, and looking out the window, and there's a big black bear chomping on the grass on the lawn in the middle of nowhere in this fishing lodge that you can only really get to by helicopter or by boat and 4x4.
Yeah.
Like a 3-hour trip to get to it.
Crazy.
Yeah. Long story, which I won't get into, but bear's really good. So we have staff meal, then we have the filming, and I just go with the flow. So if we decide that we're all hungry and we want to eat steak, guess what? I don't have steak to film with.
Yeah.
Through elimination, we don't have that.
So then you're making something else to go with whatever ingredient
precisely
throws at you.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, though. Keeps you on your toes.
Always. But again, that's just cooking. It's like, what's your fridge? What you got with you? Let's taste it, enjoy it or not, and try to figure out if it's not palatable, how to make it palatable. And if it's good, just showcase that it's good.
So do you try and keep some of that like foraging stuff? Like you said, you go to the Bow River for chives or whatever. Do you try and bring that back into your dishes at Rouge and all that?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, nice. Did you ever recreate some of the dishes you made?
No, never.
Like, hey,
not once. And the reason is most of the dishes are such a time and place thing.
Yeah.
And they really speak to, literally, it will be that moment that even if you're in the same location, it might, let's say what's growing might not be there a week earlier or a week later, or at that moment, they might come out a week later. Yeah. It all depends on the season and the sunlight and the water, the rain, that sort of thing. So everything on the show is very much time and place, which makes it a little bit difficult when it comes to writing recipes, which is something that we do. That being said, some things are kind of a given. Spruce tips. Okay. So, spruce tips are they're going to be out there in June.
Yeah.
They're either early June or later in June. But if you pay attention and you're going for a walk and it's like, oh, they're not quite ready, well, then go back a few days later and they will be ready.
Yeah.
And then you can do it that way. So at the restaurant, though, we definitely storytell with foraged ingredients.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And we will try to bulk up on a few things. So spruce being one of them. So when a tree gets wounded and it bleeds sap and that sap hardens, so essentially a scab, right? Same with blood, same as us. And you see that amber, which is exactly what amber is petrified sap.
Yep.
Well, the stuff from Douglas fir trees tastes delicious when you add it to caramel. So I've been doing like this Douglas fir caramel. And in fact, last week, I made 360 students and faculty members at NATE taste the Douglas fir resin. It's actually called pitch, but resin works, or amber.
Yeah.
Amber.
Highly flammable.
Yeah, it is. Amber sounds best.
It does.
But 360 people tasted caramel flavored with Douglas fir scab.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But
right on.
That's really good.
The whole foraging thing, like, that's cool. And like, I've started recently just to like think about it and get into it, because we've got like up at our property, I see rose hips. And then I just found out like the old owners had planted, I assume they planted it. It's probably not native, but there's a high bush cranberry.
Yes.
There.
Also very, very good.
So like just last hunting season, I like grabbed the berries, threw them in a pot for simple syrup and with some rose hips. Because, you could make tea, but why make tea when you can make old fashions? And my buddy's just like, the fuck are those berries? I'm like, oh, they're high bush cranberries. Are you sure? I'm like, Guess we'll find out. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But man, it was delicious.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's like so much more out there that I'm not even seeing. Like those are the one that I don't even think's super native anyway. But the rose hips, I'm like, I see them now. I'm like, okay, great, grab them because we can make tea or we can make old fashions. I'm totally great. But I'm sure there's stuff out there that I'm just totally missing. And now I'm like, not mushrooms because I don't trust myself, but I'm interested in like gathering more stuff from around there and like finding what's out there that we can just kind of grab and turn into something and kind of like off the land type thing, right?
There's so much. I just learned about one last year from Kevin, and it's called Galium. Forget, Kevin's really good at Latin, but Galium, and not the metal. So you have to Google it. It's like, it has tones of vanilla.
Oh,
it's incredible. Cool. Or tonka bean.
Yeah,
this stuff is probably going to be one of my most sought after ingredients that I think grows around here.
Yeah,
and I think it, it's just like randomly there's a patch of it, and so
Galium.
It will go in. Just think of replacing like vanilla anywhere.
Okay, so it's like a spice.
Yeah, or an aromatic.
Okay.
Kevin used the word vanillin when he was talking about it, which I don't know what that means. But okay. But it makes sense. It's like, okay, so it tastes like vanilla.
Yeah.
But it's not vanilla. Incredible. Galium.
That's wicked.
Yeah. Grows in Alberta. Tastes like vanilla.
I love it. I'm going to go find some. I'm going to look it up first. See what it looks like. And then I'm going to make sure.
And it's not the metal.
And it's not the metal.
Or maybe it's an element, not even metal. Where's gallium part of the atomic chart? I can't remember.
You're way over your head at this point.
My tequila knowledge
is starting to...
Yeah. Sure.
Do you want another? Do you want something different?
We got. Do you know what? That was so good. I could have another one of those.
All right.
So, have you kind of gone exploring, harvesting, looking around, looking for things that you can identify?
I've tried. Like I said, like the rose hips is kind of like where I was like, oh yeah. Other than that, obviously, like I've foraged for deer and grouse, and geese, and
what kind of grouse?
Usually it's ruffed or blue, like whatever's in season, and whatever just comes across the path that you can put a 22 shell into.
Yeah, grouse are delicious.
Oh man, they're like, here's you know how to skin a grouse?
Yeah, the easy way or the not
like
easy way.
It's like they evolved just to be food, simple trail food.
Yeah,
you just step on the wings, cut the head off, pull the feet, and all of a sudden you've got two breasts, and you're just like, okay, cook that up and eat it. It's like, it's harder unpacking chicken from the store than it is to like, get breasts out of a grouse, which is crazy to me.
Did you see the episode that we shot on the Athabasca?
Not yet. No,
it was ruffed grouse, and essentially, Les built me a tripod, built me a great fire, and soaked the silt is what it's called, and we hung the grouse over the fire, and
oh yes,
and it was also rose hips. So
nice,
right in your wheelhouse for sure. Rose hips are so good. They were one of my favorite things as well. So one of the things that I started with. Easy to identify.
Yep.
Completely nutritious, delicious. You can cook it down and make butter out of it. Like
what?
Yeah. Have you rose hip butter?
No, I've literally used them for old fashions.
Which is also brilliant. I also have a good old fashioned story. So rose hips, we'll go back to rose hips. So you know how there's like crabapple butter?
No.
Apple butter.
I have no idea.
Think applesauce.
Okay.
The texture of applesauce, but a little bit thicker. That's what I call it, butter.
Okay.
And with rose hips, so you put them in a pot, make sure they're clean. Sometimes there'll be little leafy bits and woody bits, and I don't really worry about that. They're really seedy to begin with. And I'll add sugar and I will add water. So it's kind of like they're evenly covered
Yeah.
in water, maybe a little bit more, so like that much on top of them, which is like an inch. And then I simmer them until they're soft, and then I press them through a sieve,
Okay.
using a rubber spatula,
All right.
and all the flesh that comes out on the other side goes back into the leftover liquid. Then I reduce that down so it gets thick, and it's delicious.
So the leftover liquid was in like the sugar and the water that you were cooking.
Sugar in the water and the
Okay.
and the pulp of the
okay.
rose hips.
And then you cook that down.
Yeah, and it thickens up, and it's perfect for like putting on toast, or mixing in cocktails,
Right.
or having a spoon of. You can even like give it some barbecue sauce vibes, flavors,
Really?
by adding like some cayenne and some salt and some vinegar and reducing it down. Yeah, it's really playful and really fun to work with. Works well with mustard. In fact, when I think back to the beginning of my career, I worked for an Austrian chef who had trained under a 3-star Michelin chef in France, and he had rosehip jam, which he imported,
Really?
to make sauce for the pâté en croûte out of.
Huh.
And so that was my first exposure to rosehip. It's like, oh, rosehips, and this is coming in from Austria. How cool is that? And it's delicious. And what I essentially did was rosehip jam, so butter jam, that's
Interchangeable.
yeah. In my world, yes, when I started making my own, because I just kind of went for it.
Yeah.
No recipe or anything else to work from. Just kind of thought about it. It's like, I'll try this, and it worked. So rosehip jam, mustard, orange juice, I think. I haven't made this since the 80s, so bear with me. Dried mustard, black pepper, and maybe a splash of cider vinegar or something like that.
Okay.
And it was so good. It was like this perfect sweet, sour sauce to go with pate. And yeah, rose hips. That was, to me, such a gateway ingredient to harvest from.
I had no idea.
Yeah. God, I just said gateway. It was like a gateway drug.
Gateway drug.
But it was a gateway ingredient.
Gateway ingredient.
Yeah, it was.
But hey, I mean that's cool.
And now you're on it, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about what will happen to you.
As soon as I find like the next batch of rose hips, I find I'm going to start making butter jam.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
Yeah,
it does. You got to like harvest a shit ton.
Okay.
Have other people do it for you.
But
I say bribe them, feed them alcohol. Like, hey, let's go do this.
Oh, I got friends who work for booze.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, make it fun.
Yeah.
And then cook them something with the rose hips that they harvested. Make butter on the side for yourself that you keep for yourself, or Christmas gift later.
Yeah.
You could do that.
When do rose hips usually come out?
Like fall.
Are they just in the fall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they actually do really well, and they're really easy to work with, and even more delicious after a frost or two.
Okay.
So that's sort of
when this is like right around hunting season.
It's perfect for hunting season.
It's like that on some venison or
the
thing you shoot.
Yeah. Moose, venison,
store-bought chicken.
Yeah. Grouse.
I
made syrup out of rose hips, and I served them with crepes and blue cheese as a dessert.
Oh,
in that one episode I was telling you about on the Athabasca River. Delicious.
I'm going to watch that one.
And blue cheese. Okay, here's something. Earlier I was talking about funk.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like blue cheese.
Okay, the stinkiest cheese is the best cheese. And that's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it.
It's the way,
fact.
Yes, agreed. And if you melt stinky cheese, then it just becomes, I don't know, somewhat spiritual.
Yeah.
So melted blue cheese, like Stilton soup.
Yeah.
I've never met a person that I have not served Stilton soup, whether they like blue cheese or not, that hasn't gone, oh my God, that's good.
I had blue cheese and horseradish on a steak, and I was like, holy fuck.
Magic.
Yeah.
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 That's delicious.
I was picking up cheese just for like a charcuterie board. because we had friends over the other weekend, and I let the kids pick because either that or they're gonna burn the store down. So I was like, pick me a cheese. And my youngest picked this cheese, and I was like, oh, fuck, whatever, sounds good. And like we're driving back, and in the truck, I'm like, it fucking like, did you? And I was like thinking, like, did he shit his pants? And I was like, God, it smells like garbage. And then like after, I was like, no, it's garbage. And I'm like, oh, there's like food or something left under the seat in the truck because it's just a mess because the kids. Whatever, bring stuff in, and then friends are over, and I'm bringing stuff out, and I'm prepping things. I'm like, it smells like garbage again. I'm like, our garbage must be stinking. I'm like, this is insane. This smells awful. And then I went to cut, and I'm like, picked up the cheese. I was like, oh no, it's the cheese. It's the cheese that smells like garbage. And it was delicious.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes. I was so happy. I was like, getting all worried. I'm like, it stinks like shit in here. And then as soon as I found out the cheese, I'm like, oh, thank God, this is going to be so good.
Yeah. Some cheese, though, if it smells like dirty diapers, I don't know. I love stinky cheese. There's one or two where it's like, okay, that smell actually is what it tastes like.
Yeah.
I can pass. But mostly, almost, God, here's a confession. I eat a lot of cheese. In fact,
because it's amazing.
It is, and I embarrass myself when I go to people's houses. They put out like a wheel of, Brie-de-Meaux or something really awesome, delicious, and I just hang by the cheese, and then their cheese is gone, and they're like, "Oh,
yeah,
that's weird." We got like a whole wheel. We were expecting to have cheese for like the next week.
I'll do that with like a softer cheese, like a camembert or something.
Oh God,
or something like the brie that people don't normally touch. I'm just like, oh,
yeah,
gone.
Yeah, I think cheese is life.
It is, and it goes on a board. Actually, here we go. I have a question.
Okay.
Oh, I'm skipping ahead. That's all right. Speaking of cheese and charcuterie, I want you to imagine you're out in the woods. You're walking with friends. Maybe it's a day hike. Maybe you're going hunting. Maybe you're dragging your kids behind you. Whatever. You're out in the woods. You're out for the day. What is the ultimate on the trail charcuterie board? Oh, you're going to whip out of your pack. You pull your pack down. I don't care if you got to hew a chunk of fucking wood for it or if you stuffed it in there. You take out your pack and you're like, we're having charcuterie on this stump. What is on that stump?
Okay. Well, there'd be a variety of things.
I hope so.
And I would say
it's just rose hips.
and Galium.
Galium, rose hips, Galium.
And some spruce. Here you go.
Shut up and eat it.
Yeah. Actually, pine's really good as well. Lodgepole is...
lodgepole.
Yeah, that's good. So, mandatory would be duck rillette.
What?
So you make duck confit and you puree it up in duck fat. And with the duck rillette, you also would need to have a beautiful French baguette.
Okay.
Beautiful baguette. So it's the crust per soft ratio, which make baguettes so good. And when you spread anything on top of them, you have every bite that has crust and soft and the spread.
All right.
So it's about balance and distribution when it hits your mouth. I would say something spicy. Definitely could be in the form of a spicy pepper, or something that has a little bit of heat.
Is this a raw pepper, or you got pickled?
I'd say pickled.
Yeah.
Preserved. So I want to go with the preserved side of things. I would definitely put on that charcuterie board blue cheese.
Yeah.
It's got to be there. I would also pretty well say any cured meat goes.
Okay.
Now for me, and this isn't for everyone, but for me, I really like, gosh, have you ever made a stock out of bones? You're boiling something or you're making, I don't know, compressed pork. You're making your own bacon, and you've gone through the curing process, and now you've pressed it you've bagged it, you've poached it, cooked it sous vide, and you get this gel.
Yeah.
This beautiful gel. Some of that gel on the tray. So it's just like,
What? Really?
oh gosh, so good. So good. In fact, it's like a little chef treat where if there's any sort of gel, or let's say you're cooking pork hocks, that is the prime example. You cook pork hocks and you get all that gelatin out of cooking pork hocks, and your stock turns into like this ballistic, bulletproof gel.
Yeah.
You eat that. So that would have to be on that charcuterie as well.
Is that like just a thing where there's just like chefs in the back snorting gel?
Oh,
just like crackheads just sitting in the corner.
oh yeah.
Just sucking gel off a spoon.
Yeah, it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, with a little bit of vinegar and some salt.
Oh man.
Salt and vinegar on top. There's nothing like it. So that would have to be there.
Yeah.
If it was just little jar of pork jowl gel or pork hock gel, absolutely.
Pork jowl gel.
Sure. Or pork hock gel.
Okay.
Yeah, it is
right on
to say. And we're not talking the fat, it's just the gel from cooking and flavor extraction. And then, cured meats like, salamis and hams and anything that would fall into that category of cured.
Yeah.
Something sliced thin. Yes. Definitely pickles.
Okay.
All sorts of pickles. So you'd have your cheese. Actually, you'd need more than one kind of cheese. Yes, blue cheese, for sure. But there'd have to be maybe 2 other varieties of cheese. So you have different textures and different plays to go to. And
this is a huge pack you're bringing out.
I know you're carrying it.
Oh, okay.
And
usually what happens.
And some really good honey.
Oh.
You need some good honey and some good nuts.
Okay.
Yeah, but bread. It's got to have bread.
Yeah.
It's got to have a nice mix. If there was only one thing, though, to pack in, only one thing. Duck rillettes.
Okay. Duck rillettes.
And baguettes.
And baguette. So I'm going to ask you a question then. Have you heard of tinned fish?
Yes.
But like in the woods?
Making
with the paper towel?
No.
You don't know what this?
No, can you tell me?
Okay. So you get your tinned fish, got to be in olive oil. Okay. Right? Some mackerel, sardines, whatever you're into. Peel the lid off. Take a paper towel, either rip it to size or fold it in half. Put it on top so the oil soaks into it a bit.
Okay.
Light the paper towel.
Oh.
And then, like a candle, it'll just burn on the top of the tinned fish and start to heat up and cook the fish in the tin. So then, like, people put like a cup of tea over top or use it to like cook up some coffee. And then when it's done, you take your baguette or your Rain Coast crisps or whatever you brought with you, and then you slap hot tinned fish on.
I like it.
And olive oil, and you eat it.
Yeah, man.
And it's fucking good.
It sounds really good.
Yeah. And it's basic, and it's like, this is what poverty people do. But I saw it like pop up on Instagram and stuff, and I kind of like ignored it. And then my chef buddy was like, you guys got to try tinned fish. And he was like, holy fuck. You're right. Hot, like warmed up tinned fish on a nice baguette.
I'm in.
You can't beat it.
No, I'm in. So that's going to be, okay, so 2 things you pack in.
the tinned fish, duck rillette, and a full-size baguette.
Yeah, 2 baguettes.
2 baguettes.
Yeah, one for me, one for you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
And then you survive and you're done you're good for
I like it.
At least a day.
I totally taste that. Do you ever put anchovies on your steak?
No.
Anchovies on steak. Very good. With brown sage butter, lemon, and capers.
And rose hips.
No.
Galium.
No. No, those come after. Those are
okay.
Those are for dessert. Yeah. But I guess you could.
Sardines on steak, hey?
Yeah, sardines on steak. Well, actually, no, anchovies. Anchovies on steak.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, anchovies. Anchovies, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And really good anchovies on steak. They're really good.
Okay.
And blue cheese. Add blue cheese to that whole flavor profile. It's good.
I'm in. Anchovies and blue cheese on steak. I'm learning so much. Okay, I have a few more questions for you. All right. Have you... Actually, no. Can't get to that later. Okay. If someone wanted to just like cook outside,
Yes.
what are the essentials in terms of like, what do you need to just like, I just want to cook outside. Maybe you can pack it out. Maybe it's just like, I'm just going to throw this shit on a table near my campfire at my cabin or at the campground. What do you need?
If you have the ability, like if weight is not an issue, definitely some iron, an iron grid, something that can handle high heat.
Yeah.
And I would say from experience, a little bit of charcoal.
Okay.
So even if you're building a wood fire and you want to cook over it, throw a few hunks of lump charcoal or even Kingsford, whatever, on top, get that burning so you've got consistent heat. Because cooking over, especially if you don't have time to build a really hot bed, like to build a fire to cook over takes quite a while.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen like, oh, there's a fire, now I start cooking, because you'll have hot and cold. It won't be even heat at all. So you have to build a coal bed. Either you burn enough wood to build a coal bed, or you bring in charcoal and you build the coal bed. Charcoal. Either way, it takes time. Things that I learned from Les, actually, if you're building a fire ring, be choosy about the rock that you use.
Because they'll explode.
Exactly. Don't use river rock.
Yeah.
You know, you see all these fire pits that are made out of river rock. Don't use river rock.
Bam.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they do have water, and water expands, and then they explode, and it's dangerous. So you know that one already, which is good. The wood that you use matters when it comes to flavor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Birch is really good. It's a nice flavored wood from where we live, from Alberta. Tamarack or larch is also good. It burns really hot.
Okay.
I don't mind using tamarack, but you don't really want to use spruce. Douglas fir is fine, but
why don't you want to use spruce to cook on?
Spruce is okay. It's the flavors. The wood that seems to be more oily also seems to not have a lot of great flavor to it.
So what about like aspen or poplar?
Don't do it.
Oh,
yeah, okay. Yeah. I'd say stay away from that. But it's hard to get a fire going with that in the first place.
Yeah, that's more of a sustainer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if it's all you have, well then I guess so. But there's just some negative qualities that come out of different woods. So the harder the wood, the better. That's kind of the rule. By we, I mean Kevin Coswin and a chef in Edmonton who owns Range Road Restaurant. His name is Blair Lebsack. And we did a dinner last year. We actually had a chef join us from close to Bonnyville as well, from Iron River Ranch, for a dinner that we featured different smoke. We talked about different smoking species for smoking and their different flavor points. Fascinating, the different vibe that you can get from different wood.
Yeah.
So if you are going really gourmet and you're building a fire, think about what you're cooking and then pick the wood to match. As an example, if you are smoking meringue, buffalo berry works really well. The shrub.
Yeah.
The little bush. Yeah.
Really?
Buffalo berry wood works great.
Okay.
It's got some really interesting nuances to the flavor.
Interesting.
It tastes like, and we all know what a good birch fire tastes like. So if you're hanging out around a campfire, it's like, oh, that's a damn good smelling campfire. You know, it's probably what you want to cook on.
Yeah.
And if it's like, oh man, I'm getting smoked out, I can't even breathe this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really want to cook over that.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of as a rule of thumb. But cast iron grid, pack in for sure. Charcoal be a recommendation. And really, if you're into it, material to either make a tripod, so paracord or something like that, and hatch it so you can knock down a couple of poor trees that aren't doing very well, but are still green and they're not going to burn, that you can tie together at the top to make
and then you can hang your food.
They can hang your food off.
Yeah.
Okay. Or just bring one, which is made out of metal. Yeah,
right.
Spikes that you can buy.
Cool. Okay. And then if you had to cook one dish out in the woods, that's it, just one. The easiest and tastiest outdoor dish that like anyone could do.
Yeah. Are you bringing the food in with you, or
Yeah, not like
you don't have to shoot it?
No. I mean, you can
or fish it.
No,
But
no.
the
You
easiest,
just like you're going camping, you bring your food, and you just want to blow everyone away with one meal. You got limited stuff because you're up in a mountain, came in on ATVs or some shit.
That's a good question. The confit.
Fuck off. Anyone could do.
Yes. Oh, right. Well, you just buy it and you cart it in. Sincerely, I would say that's a tough one. Because I know myself, I would like to throw a badass T-bone right into the coals.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And that's it. It's like,
Sweet.
and cooking on coals is so fun.
Yeah.
And so surprisingly non-burny. Like it gives it a good sear. Have you done that before?
We've done it with vegetables, but I haven't thrown a steak on there intentionally.
It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a story. We are up close to the Athabasca, and a friend of Kevin Coswin, his name's Jeff Singer. He owns an abattoir, and the reason he owns an abattoir is he really didn't like what he was seeing in the world as far as stewardship of animal and dispatching animals. Animal welfare and how they were being dispatched. So he decided to take it into his own hands. And he showed up at camp, and we had this amazing coal bed, a huge bonfire that was raging all night. And he had a steer. It was an experiment. Grass-fed, grass-finished steer. So he's breaking all the rules about what you should do for the beef industry. And he pulled out these T-bone steaks, and they were marbled like Wagyu beef. Is insane. Like, not what I expected. And they were, 2 inches thick. Just beautiful. And we threw them right into the fire, right into the coals. Not into the fire, but into the coals. It was the best steak I've ever had in my life.
Really?
And it, as grass-fed beef that was well marbled. When his point was, people tell you that grass-fed beef doesn't get the marbling, but he proved them wrong with this. And it was like Wagyu. But also the fact it was cooked right on the coals, the smoke layer is higher than the coal heat layer.
Yeah.
So they weren't as smoky as if you're cooking them on top of the fire. They weren't as charred as you would have had if you're cooking them on top of the fire. More of a soft flavor. It is an incredible cooking process.
Huh.
Who would think, right?
Yeah.
But we also drank whiskey that night, so maybe they had way more flavor of smoke and way more flavor. I mean, we were by that bonfire for hours.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it could have been like smoke blind.
But if someone wants to just like cook a good meal, throw a steak on the coals.
Throw a steak on the coals. And veggies and your potato and everything else that you want to do.
I like it.
Yeah, surprisingly easy and effective.
All right. Last question, then I got a quick fire round for you, if you're a game. Have you ever cooked beaver tail?
No.
Or any sort of beaver?
No.
No. Do you want to, or you're like, fuck that, that's gross?
So
Steve Ranella did it.
I know, and I actually know guys who have done it as well. And I have tried it. And I kind of thought to myself, why?
Yeah.
And everything that I've been told about beaver from people that have experience with beaver, same sort of thing. It's like, it's hit and miss. Why take a life for for nothing. If it's not pleasurable to eat.
Totally.
Yeah. So,
Fair enough. Like that answer. Okay. Next, I'm going to ask you 2 questions, and then I got quick fire.
okay.
If you could be a cocktail, what would you be and why?
Oh, old fashioned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the name of them sounds old, wise.
Yeah.
And there's morals involved.
Okay.
But I also think of old fashions. I think of a time where it's like Dino Martini. When television was like, hey, let's get gunned with the camera rolling and and have fun. So yeah, maybe old fashioned, sure. Whiskey based for sure.
Okay. Other than yourself, one other chef that is just killing it right now. Oh, that you think is just like this guy.
A person who inspires me and has always inspired me. Actually, is a really good buddy of mine. There's 2 of them.
Okay.
Actually, there's kind of a tie. Both of them are named Michael. One is the person who remembers everything. So earlier I was talking about Fred Zimmerman, who was at the Owl's Nest, who was the chef of the Westin Hotel. We called him God. Well, the new God in the industry, his name's Michael Allemeyer, and he's actually an instructor at SAIT.
Okay.
But he's also one of the few certified master chefs on the planet. So not like the TV series Master Chef, like the real accreditation, like you got culinary chops. I believe he was the second in Canada to get accreditation. Like he's the real deal.
Shit.
You want to talk anything food? He remembers all the little details. He's the kind of guy that will remember things that I won't. I've got good intuition, but he has a really good memory plus really good talent. And the other person who is more like me, who I think is still crushing it and every single day wakes up inspired and kicks ass and doesn't fake it at all, is Michael Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And his restaurant Fireworks and his inn at Bay Fortune, which is in Prince Edward Island. It's unbelievable. Everything is cooked over open fire.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And not just like, fire optics. So it's like, no, he's got a maze of firewood already curing for 2 years from now.
Yeah.
That you have like a corn maze, but it's a firewood maze. And that's how much he burns per year. He burns maple. Everything is cooked with fire. He makes his own charcoal.
Of course it is.
It's legit farm to table. If you go to the restaurant in May, guess what? You're going to have shoots, and you're going to have preserves, because that's what you get in May, because that's what's available.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Love it.
And he's got his own chunk of land that he is doing it all himself right on the chunk of land, and he's got his own mushroom trail.
Yeah.
Just like the level of detail that Michael has and how authentic he is. There's no gimmicks.
Okay.
There's no bullshit.
Michael Smith.
There's no smoke and mirrors. The Inn at Bay Fortune, the restaurant's Fireworks. He left television to create food and to do it because it's in his blood. He loves it so much. And I think I could say he loves it as much today as he did when he first started. And
awesome.
You got to respect that. But same with Michael Allemeyer.
Yeah.
Michael Allemeyer, same thing. Like you go to his house and it's like, oh, geez, we're having souffle, Michael? Oh, darn. Oh, and you also smoked some salmon earlier and you've got the barbecue going. Oh, okay, we're going to have what? It's like, 6 courses later and
holy shit,
wines to match. And then people come to my house and I'm like, what kind of pizza do you guys want?
Because like Domino's.
No Domino's. Pizza 73 maybe, but
okay.
But because of the wings.
Because of the wing deal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, finishing off, I like to do quick fire. And this is basically, I'm going to give you 2 things. You got to pick one.
Okay.
Top of your head, just like, here we.
Eyes closed.
Ready?
I'm in.
Open fire or charcoal?
Combo.
Nope. Damn it. Okay.
Say that doesn't work.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Shiitake or hen of the woods?
Hen of the woods.
Chanterelle or morel?
Chanterelle.
Beer or wine?
Wine.
Venison or mutton?
Venison.
Elk or moose?
Thai.
Duck or goose?
Duck. But also Thai.
Gordon Ramsay or Matty Matheson?
Matty.
Yeah. BC or Alberta?
Politically? Or just born here. I have to say Alberta.
Yeah, all right. Rowan berry or high bush cranberry?
High bush. Cranberry.
Rivers or ocean?
Oh, that's not fair. That's not fair. River.
Okay. Maldon or Himalayan?
That's another one where it's like, oh, come on. Both.
Both.
But yeah. Malden. No, Himalayan. I'm going to say Himalayan.
Okay. Himalayan? Okay.
Sure.
Literally anything you've done in your life that was not great, even taking a shit this morning or being on this podcast.
So what is the thing that I did in my life that's not great? Oh gosh, I don't know. I block all those things.
Perfect. I'll take that. Bear Grylls or Survivorman?
It's easy. Survivorman, yeah. Well, and I can go down a rabbit hole because Bear Grylls isn't authentic.
Yeah. Okay. The last one. It's a little mean. Renault or Stroud?
For business partners?
That's it. You got to pick it. Renault or Stroud?
They both have their own universes.
That's the appropriate answer.
Like I have mine. I don't know. I should say solar system. I don't even know. Because they're not comparable.
No, they're not at all.
No. If you were to say, what color of car do I want? What's my favorite color? Different story.
Yeah. But like making you pick between
blue, green, white, red.
Blue, green, and white, red.
Brown. So brown. Is that what it adds up to? Brown,
white, red. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're just gonna get brown.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like shit color. Yeah, shit brown.
Awesome. Oh yeah, man. I appreciate you coming out and coming on the show and having a chat.
Cheers, man.
So season 3 is on YouTube, or it's being released episode by episode on YouTube?
It is now completely out. So as of Valentine's Day, 2025, all episodes in season 3 are posted on YouTube.
Perfect. And stay tuned for maybe season 4 eventually. Maybe something that has to do with trucks and stuff. Trees.
Trucks and trees.
And go eat
a good name for
trucks and trees.
Trucks and trees.
And then go eat at Rouge.
There you go.
Like man, I like it.
Cheers.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cheers.